पहले आप बैठिए। मैं खड़गे जी आपसे पूछना चाहती हूँ कि अब जब डिफेंस मिनिस्टर नहीं बोल रही थी, आप बोल रहे थे, बोलती क्यों नहीं? अब आप क्या सही में बता दीजिए, यू डोंट वांट टू हियर डिफेंस मिनिस्टर, शी हैज ए फुल राइट। आप हल्ला करना चाहते हो तो करो, ये देता है। This is not the question. 193 का रिप्लाई, 193 का रिप्लाई उनसे संदर्भित है, वही बोलेगी। नो, यस, आप बैठिए सब लोग। अनुराग जी आप बैठिए। नहीं,
थैंक यू वेरी मच, मैडम।
Minister has to reply and she will reply. Yes.
Madam, he is not above the
Yes. Not the question of anything. Yes, yes, Minister. Yes, Minister. आप बोलिए ना।
मैं जरूर।
हाँ।
No, I will speak, madam. Thank you. It just shows how much facts are frightening the Congress party. I'm standing here today to give point by point answer to the questions raised not just by the Congress in the opposition, but by every member of the party, this House, who have shown interest in the topic, and I want to reply them with facts. And if facts are going to frighten the Congress party and they don't want me to answer, I'm sorry, it's very disappointing that senior members from the party in the opposition, much before I can even start, don't want to hear my reply. It's very, very disheartening. It's very disheartening, madam. This country will have to understand that defense purchases are of national security related and therefore very, very important. Yes. National security is important, whether they are in power or we are in power or any other party is in the ruling in this country. Yes. National security demands that all of us, yes, discuss issues, yes, raise questions on issues, but we cannot run away from the facts. We cannot run away from getting the required answers on which, rightly, in Parliament, questions have been raised. So thank you very much, madam. I am going to seek your indulgence so that by point, I'm going to have to give reply. Yes. Now let's understand, how is our neighborhood? Our neighborhood for India is very, oh, thank you if you know it. Please have the patience and gracefulness to accept that I have a chance to speak now. Ma'am, please, I would want to tell you, ma'am, the environment around India is very, very volatile. And we've had wars both in the western frontier and in the northern borders. It is important for us to understand, therefore, that India, all of us would want, whoever is in government, would want to have peace in our neighborhood. We'll do everything to keep peace. But it cannot be at the cost of the operational readiness of our armed forces. Yes. It cannot be at the cost of making our armed forces feel that enough is not being given to them to fight. We've had enough number of wars in this neighborhood, and therefore, we should recognize that timely getting of equipments for our armed forces should be the priority for any government. Skirmishes or military standoffs keep happening. All of us recognize that these two borders are always highly sensitive, and it is important for us to timely, in time, purchase the required ammunition or the platforms which are required. And in that context, I would want to say, first of all, remembering Sri Atal Bihari Vajpayee, who in his period started the motion for this 126 MMRCA. It was in his period in 2001, post-Kargil war, that we thought it was important that we should start doing something to give the Air Force enough power, air power. And of course, it was Vajpayee ji who said, and I quote his words, "We can change our friends, but not our neighbors." Let's remember that. Our neighborhood being what it is, we really cannot, but we cannot really sit back and watch, nor can we change the neighborhood. And if that's the case, is it not our duty as government, for anybody who's in government, to recognize the sense of urgency with which we have to deal? I would want to give you the picture of how we stand precarious sometimes in decision making, and it is requirement for the leadership to take that call. How was our neighborhood developing in the last 10 years? China added 400 aircrafts between 2004 and 2015. Fourth generation aircrafts, fighter aircrafts like J-10, J-11, J-16, Su-27, Su-30 were all being added to the Chinese arsenal. Even fifth generation stealth fighters were being added. If that's about China, what about Pakistan? They increased their total number of aircrafts by more than double. They had F-16 bought in, and also they added 43 JF-17 class Chinese aircrafts to the arsenal. Now, if this is China and Pakistan, what were we doing in India? In 2002, we had 42 squadrons. In 2007, this came down to 36 squadrons. Further, by the time it was 2015, it was reduced to 33 squadrons. Our neighbors are increasing their capacity, and we, who should have supplied the Air Force with enough power, the motion having commenced in 2001 under Atal Bihari Vajpayee, kept moving at snail's pace, and we did not have, even by 2014, did not have what was moved by Atal Bihari Vajpayee. A deadlock situation was created, and we were left with no additional aircrafts, and we are constantly being reminded there was a deal. We gave this much money. Where was the 126 aircraft? Where were they? Have they got it? What price did they pay? What is this 526 crore that they're constantly talking about? I'll come to that. 2001, NDA gave in principle agreement or approval for the procurement of 126 MMRCA. And the user requirements were also issued, which is called the Services Qualitative Requirement, SQRs, about which Manya Shri Rahul Gandhi ji referred in 2006. These SQRs were issued in 2006. The deal only reached a deadlock in 2014. From 6, when the SQRs were issued, and in 14, you leave the government without anything bought. The sense of urgency, the neighborhood. I'm being reminded that we don't need to talk about the neighborhood. All of us know about it. Oh, all of us knew about it. Did you do something about it? Did you do something about it? Did you get the aircrafts? 2006, the SQRs were released. And in 14, even further, I'll go even further, ma'am, please. The reasons for the deadlock, even then, were not clear. What was the deal? They were negotiating for 18 aircrafts to be bought in a flyaway condition, and the rest were not to be produced with, let us say, the HAL. The sense of urgency made you think that you should get 18 in flyaway condition. National security is important. I would have presumed that's the reason they went for 18 flyaway, and the rest 108 to be produced in India over an 11-year period in their agreement. I want to know if the national security and the sense of urgency, which again, Sri Rahul Gandhi reminded us, when the SQRs were issued, there was a sense of urgency which was also mentioned. Till today, you have not bought aircraft was a very emotionally charged member asking. Very legitimate question, I agree. But 18 flyaway you couldn't obtain by the time it was 2014. After 2006, you went away without even getting the 18 flyaway. I want to know why. Why? There wasn't an agreement, there wasn't a deal, you didn't buy any, and today you get up to say, what is the sense of urgency that you have appreciated to get the aircrafts? Please. All right? Then, I'm coming point by point, ma'am. Let them have the patience to hear it. Then, the question I want to ask here, yes, I'm answering that. Madam,
Don't listen to them.
there is a minimum period, ma'am. Madam Speaker,
आज क्या हो गया? आज क्या हो गया? नहीं, कुछ नहीं, बैठिए। आज क्या हो गया? ये क्या हो रहा है? बैठो ना, आपसे नहीं ऐसे।
Madam Speaker, there is a minimum period required for the production of any such complex platforms.
अभी just now she has started. बैठिए।
The assumption that these fighters
अभी तो शुरू किया है, प्लीज बैठिए। क्या हो रहा है ये? No, this is not proper. Nothing will go on record, only minister's statement. Yes,
Madam.
you go ahead. You go
Madam,
ahead.
there is a minimum period required for the production of any complex platforms. The assumption that these fighters, the assumption
ये हंगामे में
I'm
बात
responding,
करने
madam.
की। I can't help it. Yes.
The assumption that these fighters are available off the shelf is really mistaken. None of this is available off the shelf. The IGA was signed
आपको भी
on
बताना चाहूंगी
23rd
मैं आपको भी
September
बताना चाहूंगी
2016.
बहुत देर तक सबका डिस्कशन हुआ है हर एक आप थोड़ा सा रखना नहीं यू विल हैव टू लिसन डिफेंस मिनिस्टर आप पूरा करने दीजिए पूरा देखिए तो सही ये तरीके नहीं होते हैं बीच बीच में टोकने के शी इज टेलिंग एवरीथिंग नो यू विल हैव टू हर समय कोई ना कोई मिसलेड करता रहता है प्लीज नो ये तरीका नहीं है जब मैं कुछ बोल रही हूँ तो मुझसे चर्चा करने का नथिंग विल गो ऑन रिकॉर्ड लाइक दिस प्लीज
IGA, the intergovernmental agreement was signed on 23rd September 2016 and the first aircraft will be delivered in 3 years from that date and the last aircraft will come in 2022. The first aircraft will be delivered in 3 years. In 3 years from 2016, that is in 2019. This year, September, you will have the first aircraft and the 36th aircraft will be here in 2022. Even in the MMRCA, even in the 126 MMRCA proposal, the first aircraft was to be delivered in 3 years from the date of signature of contract. Even in the MMRCA, that was a condition. In the IGA, considering the necessity of an early procurement, the process of negotiation were completed in 14 months' time. The process of negotiation did not run for 10 years, madam. The process of negotiation did not run for 10 years. We finished it in 14 months.
Yes.
And the delivery of the 36th aircraft will be here within. The 36th aircraft has been advanced by 5 months. It has been advanced by 5 months as compared to the MMRCA proposal. Now, I also want to say, ma'am, if this is the way in which, if this is the way facts are frightening them, let me tell you there are more facts which can frighten them even more. They have to have the patience to hear us now. Then, I would want to ask one question, madam, here, which I'm sure is going to make them shout even more, but I would like to request them to hear the facts. The then RM the then RM said to the media, where is the money? The then RM said in the media on 6th February 2014, the then RM said, we can't buy, where is the money? He said it outside of Parliament. I want to ask, madam, one minute. I want to ask, madam, the RM then said outside of this Parliament premises, where is the money? I want to ask, what money? Which money? Which money, madam? I want to ask, which money?
The deal money.
Probably the deal money. I want to ask, madam, because the Raksha Mantri or the Mantralaya prepares a detailed schedule even as the contract negotiating committees go about negotiating finer details as to how the payment should be made once the agreement is signed. Assume agreement is signed today, and I use the word T0 for that. Agar this agreement is signed today, we use the expression time zero. We start from now. The planning in the ministry, is done in such a way that when T0, that is when you sign the agreement, you have not signed it already. But when you sign the agreement at T0, you have to pay 15% advance. Then T0 say plus 6 months. T0 plus 6 months, you have to pay another something. T0 plus 8 months, you have to do. So, the point that I want to tell here is the timeline for the payment, the quantum of payment, the percentage of the total cost of the payment for the aircraft, separately for the weapon system, are all well prepared and kept in the ministry. You cannot come at that time when you're saying, Madam, interestingly, we are also repeatedly told and reminded, you know, the company's CEO said 95% the deal was all through, only 5%. We couldn't complete that 5%. On all that is reminded to us saying we were almost at the verge of completing the agreement, which means they knew also the payment schedules. They also have made a provision in the ministry for it. And in February 2014, how did the Raksha Mantri come out to say, where is the money? Which money is he talking about? Which money is he talking about? So, they did not intend buying the aircraft till something else was done. Madam, let me tell you here one thing. There is a difference between defense dealings and dealing in defense. We don't do defense dealings. We deal with defense with national security as a priority. Now again, go back to the process and procedure. 2011, 2011, if everything was complete and they were going to finalize the deal in 126 MMRCA, let me tell this. The commercial bid was opened, madam. Commercial bid was opened. And then, this is 126 MMRCA story that I'm telling you, finally, which did not get into an agreement stage. The non-deal, 2011, the commercial bid for 126, which started in 2001, 10 years later, was opened. L1, Dassault Aviation became the L1. And the then RM directed, in fact, let me tell you this, directed independent monitors to examine this issue as to how L1 emerged like this. He asked an independent set of monitors to check up as to why L1 was whoever. Okay, Ji? And then the reason stated for appointing independent monitors, and I quote here, he said, in the context of the letters received and issues raised related to the L1 vendor, let there be an independent monitor who will go into this to check up if everything is all right. All right, madam? After that, look at the fate. That's what? Look, plane कब आएगा? इसका चरित्र मैं बोल रही हूँ कि plane नहीं आया उनके ज़माने में. Independent mon, हमारे ज़माने में इस सितंबर में पहुँच रहे जी. आप इंतजार करिए. Independent monitors, madam. Independent monitor who was appointed by the Raksha Mantri then cleared the process. The independent monitor appointed by the Raksha Mantri to look into how the L1 was emerging like that cleared the process. Independent monitor cleared it. Then in June 2012, even after that, even after the independent monitor clearing the process, they did not buy it. Even after the independent monitor clearing the process, they did not buy it. Why? Why? There was a reason. There is a reason. Madam, I'll read this for you. Even after the independent monitors cleared it, he said, and I quote here, the commercial negotiation by the Contract Negotiating Committee, CNC, may proceed to complete its deliberation. Exactly the point which former Raksha Mantri, current Finance Minister, yesterday elaborated. I am giving you the exact matter there. He said, while on the one hand, you cleared it, on the other, you said, come for review. FM did say about it. I want to give that quote before you, madam. The commercial negotiation by the Contract Negotiating Committee may proceed to complete its deliberations with the L1 vendor and finalize its report. After the CNC report has been finalized, the entire issue of approach and methodology adopted by the CNC to determine the L1 vendor may be re-examined by the MOD Finance and MOD to ascertain that it is reasonable, appropriate, and as per laid down procedure. Yes. At what stage is he saying this? At what stage is he saying it? After the L1 is opened. Is this the way a bidding contract happens, madam? Anyone who deals with it. This is a matter of national security. And in this, forgetting the importance of having to buy it in time, this is the kind of kilward which was going on because something didn't suit them. Something didn't suit them. You just have a commercial bid anywhere. After the bid is opened, will there be any interference? They are now talking about interference from the PMO. This is interference because somebody did not receive something somewhere. Yeah. This is the interference. This is the interference. Yeah. You stopped the deal forgetting that the Air Force was suffering. Sure. So, we should be clear. When you didn't get it, because it didn't suit you. The deal didn't suit you. The deal didn't give you what? Money. Why was it in my and when I raise these questions, I raise it because the Congress party now should stand up not to ask questions, but to reply to each one of what I'm asking them. Who was it? Who was it who did not settle with you that you couldn't conclude this deal? You couldn't conclude this deal. National interest was thrown away. National security was not cared for. Yes. Madam, I allege, even as I am answering each one of their questions that they've raised, I allege, you're not even hearing here. You're not even hearing because you're scared of facts. Madam, I charge and I allege, as I elaborate these things, I allege they did not even intend buying. They kept the motions going, but they did not intend buying. National security was at risk. It didn't matter to them. Their treasury's security was important. Their treasury's security was important. Now I go to the next one, madam. When the deal could not be concluded, let's go. RV. RV. For every AA, there is an RV. All right? Let's not forget. For every AA, there is an RV. RV. Madam. Madam. Oh yeah, I forgot. For every AA, I'm sorry, madam, I forgot. For every AA, there's just not an RV, there's a Q also. So, abbreviations to entertain the house may be easy. Abbreviations for the convenience and for the joke, it could be easy for anybody. It's a double-edged sword, it can come back. Madam, let me also say, since now, RV is not Damad of Prime Minister, it is the Damad of the country. Madam, Q was somebody on whose lap none of us grew, all right? Q was somebody on whose lap somebody else grew. Madam, they were two clearly unresolved issues, madam. There were two unresolved issues as to when this deal was deadlocked. Two unresolved issues. One is, Dassault Aviation could not tie it up with HAL to produce the 108. Listen to the facts, 108 aircrafts were to be manufactured with the transfer of technology, and HAL was to be producing it. They could not come to an agreement. They may say, oh, you deserted HAL. But they did not conclude. There was no agreement signed with HAL. All right? There was no agreement of Dassault with the HAL, and therefore, they need not constantly shed crocodile tears for HAL. I'd like to tell them there was no agreement signed. What were the two issues which were unresolved? One was, Dassault, when they wanted the 108 aircrafts to be produced in HAL, during the negotiations were told that 2.7 times higher man hours are required by HAL for producing the same Rafale, which, if it was to be produced in France, would have been less expensive, because in India, if you were to produce it, it requires 2.7 times more man-hour. That was one thing. Second thing, I am talking about the 126 which they couldn't conclude. I am talking about the 126 which couldn't. Dassault, non-deal, the non-deal, Dassault also did not stand guarantee for the 108 which were to be produced by HAL. Meaning, one, they needed more man-hours. Two, they also did not want to stand, Dassault did not want to stand guarantee for those Rafale which are being produced by HAL in India, which means India would be, end of the day, buying 108 Rafale produced in HAL, and mind you, the consumer, who is Indian Air Force, will be buying it without a guarantee being issued by the original equipment manufacturer. Therefore, this involved, and rightly, this issue remained unresolved. And therefore, the deal with HAL, about which today you have crocodile tears by the day, particularly by the Congress party, is they did not strike the deal, they could not settle this matter. But today, they shed, standing opposite the Chowk in Bengaluru HAL unit, they shed crocodile tears. I want to ask, much before I move to specific question of why they couldn't sort it out, there is an HAL unit in Amethi, led by senior member of parliament who all of us respect, led by a senior member of the parliament who all of us respect, Mallikarjun Kharge ji. Along with him, member of parliament Rahul Gandhi ji goes to HAL Bengaluru, stands at the Chowk opposite HAL and says, square or circle or whatever, stands there to say, Rafale is your right. You should have produced it. Statement there. Very well, you made the statement. But I want to say, Shri Mallikarjun Kharge ji is also the member of the standing committee which looked into various issues related to defense production. I am reading from the standing committee's report, madam. I am quoting from the standing committee report, madam. I am reading from the standing committee report, madam. The committee are disappointed. I am reading from the standing committee report. The committee are disappointed to note that even after almost 3 decades, not 2014, 15, 16, 17, after 3 decades, the ADA has not been able to develop the indigenous aircraft as per requirement of the IAF to combat potential and serviceability, and opine that not fulfilling of requirements of the users has rendered investment of both time and money in the project so far infructuous. Standing committee quoted the report. HAL. All right, that's one thing. HAL produces the Tejas. All right. Second. And HAL ka mamla is not new to the government then. In 2013, the same standing committee says for HAL, because they were not able to scale up faster, the number of waivers, the government at that time chose to give waivers for the non-performance of HAL rather than look at improving the performance of HAL. Madam, if you are really worried about that DPSU, which is a public sector undertaking under the Ministry of Defense, you will do everything that it takes to make that up and ready for meeting all challenges. But in 2013, the government then, instead of doing anything to improve that HAL ka halat, has only given them waivers. How many waivers? Not one, not two. ADA obtained from them altogether 53 temporary waivers and concessions. 53 concessions, which means you are accommodating everything that HAL, the weaknesses, the problems, the challenges, none of them you will address, but you will go on giving them waivers and cry crocodile tears now when the government is ours. You did not do anything at that time. I'll give you one more. I will give you one more. and that is a list which the standing committee has given about the number of extensions that this government, UPA government has given for HAL. Rather than improving their capacity, rather than investing in them, rather than improving their performance, they go about giving waivers, and this is recorded. You've given this. It is recorded in the standing committee. If you really are caring about HAL, you will improve them. You will invest in them. You will try to talk to experts to make it better. You didn't do any of that. Madam, I want to now tell you, if HAL, I'm repeating this allegation. I'm repeating this allegation, madam. If you really wanted to do something for the HAL during 2005 and 14, you have not done a thing. I'll give you the list of things we have done. Presently, following procurement orders are in the pipeline for the HAL. 83 LCA Tejas fighter ka order worth 50,000 crore. 15 combat helicopter ka order worth 3,000 crore. 200 Camo helicopter ka order 20,000 crore. 19 Dornier transport aircraft ka order 3,400 crore. Other helicopters 15,000 crore. Aero engines 8,400 crores. All of them put together totals to 1 lakh crores, which we have given for HAL. Who goes and sheds crocodile tears? Madam, further, you talk about Tejas capacity. HAL's capacity. Madam, facts, madam, facts. Facts are frightening them. More facts. HAL capacity of Tejas production. HAL capacity for Tejas production has been doubled. HAL's capacity has been doubled from 8 aircrafts to 16 aircrafts per year. It was producing only 8. And all those who shed crocodile tear for HAL didn't do anything to scale it up. We have now increased it from 8 to 16, madam. Order also for a further 40 Tejas fighter planes have been placed with HAL. And between 2016 and 10, for the 40 that they placed, only 8 have been supplied till now, and they didn't bother about it. No one asked them. No one asked HAL, have you got a problem? Can we solve it for you? I gave you order for 43. How come you're only giving me 8? Can we do something? No, they didn't do any of that. Till they left in 14, only 8 have been supplied. If really you're worried about HAL, what did you do to improve its capacity? What did you invest in them? Nothing. And that is why I repeat, there is an HAL in Amethi. Has the honorable member gone there, visited, seen, asked them what is the challenge? No. You go shed crocodile tears in Bengaluru. So, the real truth behind what is really the concern is coming out. Now, you didn't intend buying, I repeat, madam. I'll come to the next man. Now, repeatedly we are being told, we were planning to get 126, 18 in flyaway condition, and the rest were going to be made in India. 100-year plan. Huh? They did not do buying of 18 flyaway, nor did they agree to make in India. They finished because something didn't suit them. Now, Now they are saying, who gave the Prime Minister the authority to reduce 126 to 36? Let them understand that they also were planning to buy only 18, which is one squadron worth, in flyaway condition, yes, and the rest was to be manufactured. Now what we are telling you is, instead of one squadron, which is 18, in that account we will get 2 squadrons, which is 36 flyaway. Now you're misleading the country. You're misleading the country. You're misleading the country by saying Modi ji reduced 126 to 36. No, madam. Your 18 has been increased to 36, and that is coming this year in flyaway condition. So, madam, if only the former Raksha Mantri sits and gives them a clear picture of how these decisions are made, 126 doesn't come down to 36. Compare with your 18 flyaway, which you were planning to buy, but you never bought, with our 36, which is coming September 2019. All right, ma'am? 18, all right? All right, ma'am? Then, the first one, 2 squadrons, whenever there is emergency purchase, whenever there is emergency press, madam, whenever there is an emergency purchase which has to be made, whenever there is emergency purchase which has to be made, there is very clearly in this country, because IAF advises so, whether it is for our government or any other government earlier, emergency purchases normally are 2 squadrons. Emergency purchases are always 2 squadrons. Now, I will just, for the record, madam, give you all previous examples of how 2 squadrons were by. Hey, Sindhya ji, baithiye, Parmani. Listen to some facts. Don't get excited. There are more facts coming. Huh? 1982. 1982. When Pakistan, when 1982, when Pakistan was buying F-16s, rightly, Indian government then decided to buy 2 squadrons of MiG-23 MF, 2 squadrons from the erstwhile Soviet Union. Okay, one example of 2 squadrons being bought. Second, in 1985, madam, again, because of the emergency which was developing in the neighborhood, 2 squadrons were bought of Mirage 2000, and they were acquired from France. Now, again, third, in 1987, madam, so 1982, 1985, 1987, again, 2 squadrons were bought from Soviet Union again, MiG-29. So, buying 2 squadron or 36 is not because somebody chose to do it. Indian Air Force normally advises the government, whichever government, if there is an emergency purchase, it has to be 2 because that's the number with which they can adjust. And therefore, even this time, instead of that 18 which they were thinking in terms of getting flyaway, we bought on the advice of Air Force 36 flyaway. So who reduced it to 2? This is how it comes down. Earlier also a lot of number of times 2 squadrons equivalent has been bought. 18 has been. Who reduced it to 2 is your question, yaar. Please listen. 18 has been enhanced to 36. 18 has been enhanced to 36. 18 flyaway has been enhanced to 36, and for the rest which they could not buy, we have issued the RFP. All right, ma'am? Now, the other question. I would like to ask the other question, madam. Now again, HAL, Make in India, they're shedding tears to us, where you bought 1 Squadron 18, we have enhanced it to 36 2 Squadron. All right? 18 has been increased to 36, madam. But I ask this question. HAL, madam, this kind of running commentary is unnecessary, madam. Running commentary is telling me clearly they are not interested in the facts. Madam, now I let...
Don't listen to anything, you go on. Don't listen to this thing.
Now, I'll give you the other one, madam. I'll give you the other example and question, madam. You're worried about HAL? Huh? You're shedding crocodile tears. My question is, today you're now severely under the heat because Christian Michael has come into India. He's going to speak a lot on Augusta Westland. Yes? What is Augusta Westland giving you? Helicopters, no? Helicopters, right? Why couldn't you give that helicopter order to HAL? Why did you go to Augusta Westland? Because HAL won't give you anything. HAL will give you helicopters, it won't give you anything else. Whereas Augusta Westland, today you have to get Michael to say what else was given. HAL won't give you anything else. Augusta Westland. Okay. Now, ma'am, this entire campaign has been on falsehoods and totally irresponsible allegations. Total irresponsible allegations. I ask a few questions now. Congress is lying repeatedly, and I want to say asatya bol rahe hain, because I remember unparliamentary words were used against the Prime Minister, and in that you also brought into the picture a former head of a government somewhere else. I want to ask a question here, madam. We were told by Congress spokesperson, I'm not naming anybody, that we shall not be talking on Rafale because it's an internal matter. I'd like to give you the exact quote on it. Madam, on March 9th, before Honorable Member Rahul Gandhi ji met the French President Macron, Congress's spokesperson told the media, and I quote here, Congress will not discuss India's defense deals with a foreign head of state. This is an internal matter, and this discussion the government has to do with France and not us. Sane words. This was uttered by the Congress spokesperson. Now, all right? Huh? And here, I'm giving you a quote which on July 20th in the Parliament, in Parliament on July 20th, Shri Rahul Gandhi says, and I quote here, I asked the French president about this secrecy pact, but he denied the existence of any such pact. He even told me that he has no issues in making the cost public. Unquote. Who is truthful? Is the Congress spokesperson who said the Congress Adhyaksh, they will not meet and talk about this, whereas now he himself in July says I spoke to him. He also said I have no difficulty. So one of them is misleading this country. One of them is misleading this country, and if this is true, I want proof for it. If this statement of the Congress president on the floor of the House, that the former president of France said that the secrecy pact, if that conversation happened, let me have a verified copy, authenticated copy in the table of the House. Let there be an authenticated copy left on the floor. You can't say one thing on the floor of the House and have your spokesperson say something else. And therefore, I want to say, Congress is building this whole thing on falsehoods, untruths, and also misleading the entire country. I will want to say now that you say one thing in the parliament, your leaders say another outside, and you're misleading this country both in the House and outside. And any conversation that you've had with any leader outside, give me an authenticated copy here. Otherwise, you cannot be quoting their name. And
1 minute. I got your letter. It is a practice that after she completes, please बैठिए. आप उसके spokesperson नहीं हैं. After she will complete, after her completion, you will get a right to ask to have one clarification. Yes, after completion.
Madam,
बैठिए.
Madam, can I continue, please? Madam, I want to now say, Congress party.
Rahul ji, no.
Ma'am, I have the right to respond.
Rahul ji, I would like
Yes,
to
thank
say
you, ma'am.
something to Rahul ji. Please.
Ma'am.
एक minute. Rahul ji has given me a request that he want to have one qualification question. I am not asking you. You please sit down. I have been saying something.
Thank you, ma'am.
Rahul ji, you have asked me to have one clarification question, something. You will get it. No.
Madam, if
she is not yielding, you can't speak. I can't allow this.
Ma'am,
She is not yielding. If she is yielding,
Madam, she has named him.
please.
Ma'am, she has named me.
Whatever, he is here. He is here.
But ma'am,
to say
yesterday you
one
said I
minute.
cannot name.
1 minute.
Today she is naming, you're not doing anything.
No, she can name the person in the house if he is, and you will get a chance. आप बैठिए ना, समझते तो हो नहीं मैं क्या बोल रही हूँ. बैठिए राहुल जी, मेरी बात समझिए, प्लीज. आप बैठिए, मेरी बात तो समझिए. बैठिए. हाँ, मेरा कहना तो पूरा करने दीजिए. आप बैठिए. I know. आप बैठिए. I am saying something to you. Rahul ji, 1 minute. I know she has taken your name. Yes. But that's why you are present here. That's why she can, because you can have some clarification. At that time, she can take your name. It is in the rule. She can. Then you will get the chance. You will get the chance for clarification. At that time, you can say, not now. You can say something. I will give you. I will allow you. But in between, if she is not yielding, you will say something after her speech. You can. I will give you some time when she has taken your name. If she is yielding, definitely you will get time. How are you saying?
अध्यक्ष महोदय, माननीय अध्यक्ष महोदय, राहुल जी बोलेंगे या नहीं बोलेंगे, सदन में बहस का विषय हो सकता है क्या? कौन बोलेगा कौन नहीं बोलेगा नियम के अनुसार होगा. एक महिला रक्षा मंत्री है, जवाब दे रही है, बार बार टोका टाकी कर रहे हैं. ये कोई तरीका है क्या? आप 1 महीने से झूठ बोल रहे हैं. आप सच चुनने की भी स्थिति रखो. पूरा झूठ बोल रहे हैं. अब सच सुनने की बारी आई है तो तब निकल रही है. क्या बहिष्कार करने की भूमिका बना रहे क्या? जवाब सुनो पहले मंत्री जी का, उसके बाद जवाब,
फिर उसके बाद पूछना पहले जवाब।
ऐसा थोड़ी होगा।
मैंने वही बोला है, मैंने वही उनको बोल रही हूँ। आप बैठिए, मैं राहुल जी को वही बात कर रही हूँ कि यू विल हैव ए चांस, क्लैरिफिकेशन का भी होगा। अगर आपका नाम लिया जा रहा है तो भी आप क्लैरिफिकेशन दे सकते हैं, बट बीच में नहीं। लेट हर कंप्लीट द थिंग एंड यू विल गेट द टाइम। आई विल गिव यू द टाइम।
Out of respect of your chair, 1 second.
Please.
Out of respect of your chair, I am happy to defer my comments towards the end of ma'am's speech, but then I would like permission.
One, ask for the clarification, and two, also respond to this accusation.
Yes.
You will
Thank
get
you, ma'am.
some 2 minutes, not more than that. Not a lamba speech, but you will get the time.